guys, welcome to the first episode of Grot and Rat, the new Age of Sigmar podcast, where we talk about lists, rules, hobby, great successes, epic failures, and everything in between. I'm your host, Grot, Ryan.
And I'm Rob.
So, we're going to explore the more realms together. Rob and I both like to play Age of Sigmar, I would say, semi-competitively. We play a lot together, and we play a lot with the local community.
Mm-hmm.
And this podcast is a way for us to reach out, meet some new people, and bring the hobby to people that might not have experienced it. And I feel like Age of Sigmar is something that everybody should get into.
Mm-hmm. Fairly easy game. Rules are simple.
Yeah.
Better than 40k.
100% better than 40k guaranteed. So, I thought we would get started off by just kind of introducing ourselves, and we can figure out together what got us into the hobby and all that kind of stuff. So, start off with some questions for you, Rob. What was your first ever, I guess, dalliance with miniature gaming in general?
So, what started me off into the hobby was actually I'm a huge video game player.
Okay.
I like the real-time strategy games. And I was looking for something that was a little like Total War, actually, but for PlayStation, because
Sure.
I started on PlayStation. Unfortunately for me, they do not make Total War on PlayStation.
No.
And then I think I saw, like, I don't want to say a commercial, but it was one of those 40k-ish, like, what's the word I want to use?
Almost like a commercial, but like a...
Yeah, when they do the first releases of the thing.
Sure, like a demo.
Yes, something like that. And I saw that and I thought that was really cool. And then I wanted to find that game on there. And then, lo and behold, long story short, they didn't make that game, but it was tabletop instead.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started into it. And then, so I started off with 40k. And then started selling it at my shop. You know, I run a kava bar. And then Ryan came along and was like, hey, do you like this but better with dragons? And I was like, I kind of do like this, and I do like dragons. And lo and behold, started with that.
There you go.
So I'm about I would say a year or two in. So I'm really fresh to the hobby.
I feel like it's more like 2. It's got to be.
Closer to 2?
It's got to be more than
Oh man, all the years kind of
I
blend together
know.
for me.
The days are long, but the years are short,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's great. I had a very different entry to the hobby. So I was, I think, 8 or 9, and I got the 40k second edition starter box for Christmas from my parents, which was pretty damn epic. So I remember the little cardboard dreadnought, the monopose marines, orcs, Gretchens, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was great. I love that. I don't still have the box, unfortunately. Which
Shame on
I
you.
know it's every now and then I look at eBay, and I think maybe I should just buy one. I do have a rule book. I do have a second edition rule book, so I could technically play second edition if I wanted to.
Ooh.
Maybe that's something we do in the future, actually, because that would be neat.
I'm down.
Second edition is wild.
Yeah. I saw with all the blast templates all the little things.
Oh, scatter dice. Oh boy. So that's how I got into the hobby initially. But my parents bought me that box, and I was like, man, what is this wonderful world that they've given me? And I ended up meeting a few friends that also got the Christmas box. Because that second edition box, I think, came out around November, December. I think basically everybody my age got it for Christmas. Good time. Got into Imperial Guard, and then eventually Tau in third edition. But at the same time, me and my friends were like into fantasy battles and all that kind of stuff. So we did all that. I got out of the hobby for a very long time after about 2004. Until probably 2017-ish. So, a good long break.
Jesus.
And, when I came back, I was like, oh, well, let me look at some of this. I haven't looked at it for a while. And then I realized that all the Imperial Guard regiments were gone. I realized that there was, all Warhammer Fantasy battles was gone. And I was like, wait, what's happening? And then that was when I was like, Age of Sigmar? I know that name. And then, I started getting into Age of Sigmar.
When did they drop Age of Sigmar?
Age of Sigmar came out in 2015.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
I was a couple of years after Age of Sigmar came back. I came back into the hobby. Maybe slightly after that was when I got my first box, because I ended up getting into 40k as I got back into it. Um, and that didn't last that long. I sort of flirt with 40k every now and then, but yeah.
So wait, you're telling me that they brought Age of Sigmar back in 2015 and they just now updated Skaven?
Correct. Yeah.
Jesus.
They still haven't updated some of the models either. So
yeah, no, Night Runners still look terrible. I always tell myself I want some Night Runners for the meta, and then I look at them and I'm like, but I don't want Night Runners right now.
I am fairly convinced that we will be in a retirement home, and then they'll update Night Runners.
Oh my god.
That's probably when that's due.
Bring back the Plague Sensor Bears.
Oh.
Bring them back. I bought some, and you guys legend them immediately.
I think that the camera is frozen.
No. Oh, no. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, no, it has. A while ago, too, I'd wager.
No, I mean, I was just pointing. I wonder if it's going to, like, kind of blip back into it.
Maybe. The camera might also just have run out of battery, because the batteries were kind of low. I guess this is going to be an audio-only section of the podcast.
Ooh, okay. Flipping it over
Yeah.
to the people, for people driving.
There we go. Yeah, for all you people driving to work right now. There goes the camera. I thought so. Yeah, for everybody driving to work right now, I probably am driving to work too right now also. So, there's that. But yeah, so then got into Age of Sigmar, right at 2nd edition with the Soul Wars box. Didn't really do much with it for a good long while. I built the models, I painted some of the Stormcast. And then it wasn't until 3rd edition that I ended up actually playing my very first game of Age of Sigmar. So yeah, no, it was a while between my first box of Age of Sigmar and my first game.
That was the Stormcast versus the Orcs, right?
Stormcast versus Nighthaunt was 2nd edition, and then 3rd edition was the Dominion box set, which was where the Cruel Boys came in.
Oh, I heard they produced so many of those, and people are still sitting on them.
Oh yeah, no, you could go onto eBay right now, and for probably $50 pick up half of the Dominion box.
Yeah, I mean they also legends half of the Dominion box too.
No, the Dominion box is all still current, because that's all of the Gut Rippers.
No, I'm talking about the Stormcast though.
No, all that's still current.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is, because that was the Vindictors, the Indrasta, and the Lord Imperatant, and the Shield and Hammer Annihilators.
Oh.
And I know I forget. Oh, maybe the Praetors. The Praetors might have been 2nd edition. I might be misremembering. No, I think the Praetors were 3rd edition. But yeah, so all of that's still current. Because they're all in Thunderstrike armor. Everybody that isn't in Thunderstrike is the ones that are going away. So
they're trying to slim them down, essentially.
Effectively, yeah. So
I think they should keep them thick.
Some of them look good thick. Like the Decimators and the Protectors and the other fellas. Like the fellas with the big hammers and the maces, they look great in the chunky armor. They look like Annihilators. I can kind of see the point with the Liberators. Although I will forever be bitter about the amount of Sacrosanct Chamber that I have that are now in Legends.
Yeah, I would during our last tournament, to be honest with you, if we still had Sacrosanct, I was probably running those too, because I did like the way those looked.
They were great. They played great. They played how I thought Stormcast should be played, where it's, run up, smash, get smashed, but also have some healing. So, I don't know. I do miss them, but they still look great. But, yeah. That's how I got in the hobby anyway. And then, obviously, you as you said earlier, we got together. We've played, I don't even know, probably 100 games of Sigmar, but against each other at this point. I would guess. Maybe not that many. Maybe 50.
Really, 50?
We've played 20 in the last 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. When we were getting, so Rob and I went to a tournament in Ocala at Warfire Minis. 3 months ago? No, a month ago.
Is that already a month ago?
I don't know. 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Great place. Check them out.
Yeah, Warfire Minis are great. But yeah, and prior to that, we went through. I would say I seriously think we played 20 games in the last 3 months, maybe 4 months, to get the Skaven to where they were at.
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. That's true. We did run through the list plenty of times.
Yeah.
I had Ryan paint half of it for me, and
half is a wild underestimation. I painted.
So maybe 3/4, okay? Maybe 3/4 of the army. I did something.
Yeah,
I got the plague monks done. Okay.
Yeah. So so how many do you have? You had 20 plague monks, 20 clan rats.
Screaming Bell.
9 rat ogres.
Yes, because we were missing 3.
And then 3 storm fiends.
Right, 3 Storm Fiends, yep.
and then the big fella, whatever he's called,
Vizic, which Raoul technically painted.
and
And then we had
the Pit Fiend, not the Pit Fiend, the Hell Pit,
the Brood Terror.
the Brood Terror. That's it.
And then I had you do up a Vermin Lord that I was going to put in for Screech, and then we decided literally 3 days before the tournament that I was like, hey, maybe we don't want to run Screech, and he was like, well, I only put 5 hours into it.
Yeah. So of all of those miniatures, like you say, Raoul painted Physics, so that's one, and that's a big one, so that's fair.
Doomflayers.
And the Doomflayers. I was going to mention those. So Rob painted 2 Doomflayers, 20 Plague Monks, and I'm done.
Hey, I also had 2 Clan Rats, okay?
Oh,
two out of the 20 I got.
That's fair.
I don't think we used them though.
So out of the rest of that, I painted 4 Rob, 20 Clan Rats, 9 Rat Ogres, 3 Storm Fiends, Screech who we ended up not using, and then all of your knot holes and your endless spells.
Well, technically they're your knot holes.
Well, they are. Well, I mean,
technically speaking, they're your knot holes.
Yeah,
so
yeah. But anyway, it's fine. I forgive you. I'm going to hold it over you for all of eternity.
I mean, it's fair. It's at least I didn't win Best Painted, because then that would have.
If you'd won Best Painted, I'd have been real salty. if you'd won Best Painted and not said anything, I'd have been real salty.
Well, to be fair, I would have just gave you that prize right away. I could not, in good faith, take Best Painted.
And so, talking of painting, I know that painting is probably your, I don't know if it's, I would say, least favorite. But what is it about the hobby that draws you in? Because I know it's not the painting. For me, it was the painting, but for you, it wasn't.
So, to be fair, I would recommend this to anyone getting into the hobby. If you are, because I was not sure about painting, to be fair, when I first started. I do love it. I really recommend people get a painting space ready to go.
Fair.
Because if you have a painting space ready to go and you can set up and have everything in space, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
I feel like my problem is I don't have a painting space ready to go, so I have to break out all my models, break out all the paints, paint a few, and then, I just can't leave them on the table. I have to break everything down. So what should be I can't just paint for 30 minutes. It's always an hour.
Right.
So that's why anyone getting into the hobby, I really recommend at least having a spot in mind. If I had some advice that I would give to myself.
That's fair. I think that is good advice. And it doesn't have to be a huge area. You just need a little drawer that you can keep a box of paints in, some brushes, a cup of water on the table.
Yeah, you just really need a nightstand and a light. Like, I would really recommend
the light.
A light too.
The light is, I would say you need to buy a light before you buy more miniatures.
Yeah.
Because trying to paint, I mean, first of all, you'll hurt your eyes, right? Like, eye strain is a real thing. And I think that if you're there trying to paint like a 1500s Sistine monk or whatever, painting, writing stuff down by candlelight, you'll just hurt your eyes. So yeah, definitely lights.
Well, it also changes like how the paint looks too.
For sure.
Because I can paint something like in just a normally lit room, and not only am I missing so many minor details too, but the way your paints come out in terms of brightness or darkness changes dramatically when it comes to light.
Yeah.
So it really does help with that. But going to circle back around to what really gets me interested, to me, it's the list building. Okay. I really enjoy looking at models, looking at their numbers, looking at their movement, and kind of playing it out in my head.
Okay. So yeah, like building what is like the counter to everything, and yeah, that makes sense.
Or finding weird things that people say aren't good and thinking to myself, how can I make this good? Sometimes you can't. That's just GW. But sometimes if you can find a weird combo or something that unexpected, you know what I mean? Or something maybe that people just don't think is good and they're just not playing it right. That's some of the joys that I enjoy.
It's definitely nice when you have a list which isn't just copy pasted from Reddit.
Yes.
That isn't just the top 3 from Warhammer for the last tournament.
Yes.
And it feels good when you can still do well or even okay with a list like that.
Yes. And I haven't experienced it yet, but I'm pretty sure coming out on number 1 with a oddball list is just like the bee's knees.
Yeah, I was watching one of the Honest Wargamer streams, and he had a list on there where he was going through the stats, and it was what are they called? Seraphon, it was a Seraphon list, which is just all Sunblood Prowlers, and it's because they're like crazy good for their points value. It's kind of like Monster Killers, Cool Boys, which I don't run a lot of. By the way, the camera's not on, and I'm facing it. Yeah, I don't run a lot of Monster Killers. I just ran one unit, and they're pretty good. But yeah,
Strikes Last is so painful sometimes, man. You charge in there and you feel like you're gonna do a bunch of damage, and then they have to just eat so many attacks before you can fight with them. It really does change the game.
Oh, trying to keep somebody alive with that is so hard.
Oh yeah, and it helps you because then you have time to think about where you want to fight before that too. So maybe you can get some cheeky damage off to a hero, or maybe it's just one less thing you have to worry about right away.
Right.
But yeah, doing stuff like that's where my enjoyment is. I feel like if I were to get a paint space, it would be much, much, much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I really honestly do think, because like I said, at first I didn't think I was going to enjoy it, and then that's why I chose to run Orcs in 40k, because according to lore, they can just look however, and you're good to go. They're supposed to look like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when I started getting into it and I started painting up a little bit more, I was like, oh, I actually really do enjoy this, you know what I mean?
The painting aspect to me is, like I say, it's what got me into it, or got me back into it. Initially, obviously, I was sort of thrust into it, but I some of my fondest memories of Warhammer when I was a kid were spending the evenings or the day or whatever with friends painting models, and we were doing terribly at it, but still, I definitely enjoyed it a lot. So, the painting for me, for sure, which I guess is why I didn't mind, having to help you out.
I mean, I always tell people, even if you're not good at painting, it's just one of those skills that you really have to sit down and do actually get better. Even if you don't like it or you think you're not good at it, if you never do it, you're never going to develop the muscle memory or the sight or
100%.
The ideas to mix certain colors together. Experimentation's huge in it.
That's great advice, and I think that goes for playing the game too. If you never play the game because you only want to paint, you're never going to get good at the game, which maybe you're fine with that. But at the same time, there are definitely occasions where I look at some of the stuff that I've painted recently, and then I look at something that I painted like 3 or 4 years ago, and I see such a big jump in. In fact, it's not even a jump. It's just a jump because there's gap. I bet if you lined every miniature up that I painted in order, you would see a gradual progression. But just looking directly back at a miniature you painted 2 years ago versus today, you'll see a jump.
That's a little bit of advice I do see with new people, including myself, is the intimidation factor, where a lot of people are intimidated to either put miniatures on the board because they don't think they're going to do good, or they don't want to pick up an army because of the way it paints. And I really think it's just playing and painting is one of those things where you really just have to get down and start doing it, because again, both skills are, for that Skaven list we ran, that was my first time I ran Skaven in a tournament. And the reason why we ran 15 games back to back was because I had to figure out how the army worked.
Yep.
And if we didn't run those games, and I lost all of them horribly, but again, that's how you learn, Yeah. It's just one of those things where if you don't do it and you don't put in the time, you just don't develop the muscle memory either for painting or the regular memory for your armies, you know?
Yeah, learning the rules is definitely a big thing. And with that in mind, with just having gone to that tournament in Ocala at Warpfire, now you have between the two of us, because we both have quite a lot of Skaven, you pretty much have the better part of a fully painted army with some stuff that you can interchange. What's something that you're looking forward to in the next, I guess, 6 months to a year with Age of Sigmar, or just hobbying in general?
New Night Runners.
Yeah, well,
please, Games Workshop, new Night Runners, please.
What? So this wasn't really a wish list thing, but if you want a wish list, then that's fine.
To be fair, the Chaos Doors are coming out, True. and the way they look like they're gonna play, I'm kind of excited right now, because I feel like I kind of want to, in my head at least, I'm gonna look forward to almost, I don't want to say kit bashing an army together, but being able to experiment with possibly having a regiment of renown in my army to do something that Skaven just can't do naturally, i.e. monster killing. Yeah. To be fair, the new Chaos Dwarfs, it looks like they have a unit that's going to look like it's going to obliterate monsters.
That's the rocket, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the rocket looks very good. I think that the rocket looks incredibly cool and thematic, and there's nothing... I don't think there's anything else like it. I mean, obviously the rules, there's other similar stuff, but like just how it looks, the Chaos Dwarf or Hellsmiths of Hashut, to call them the proper thing, or Hexsmiths if you want to keep it PG-13.
I mean, I like dwarves.
Of any of their names is fine, but the artillery that they have, the cannons, they all look great, and then the bull minotaur robot dreadnought looking fellas, I'm excited to paint them up. I saw on the Warhammer community page quite a lot of different people in the community painted those up, and they looked exceptionally cool.
I think I'm gonna go for like a red and gold color scheme. I'm not gonna lie. I saw one of those
and
McDonald's
colors.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or Florida State. You know, we can go either way.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I'm not a Florida State fan. I'm sorry. All the way.
There you go. Yeah, I think Chaos Dwarfs will be a very cool one. They are definitely on my radar. The problem I have right now is I have a goal in mind. I don't know exactly how many unpainted minis and how many unbuilt minis and all that kind of stuff. But it's a lot. And I have this goal to have everything painted by October next year.
Well, if you stop winning tournaments and stop getting free stuff, maybe you can reach your goal.
To be, you say that like I win a lot of tournaments. I've won one tournament in my life, and that was this weekend. So and that was just a 1 day as well. But even so, that didn't add that much to my pile of shame. That's like only 24 or 5 minis. It's not that bad. But yes, I agree. I gotta maybe take store credit or something. But that's the goal for me, is to get everything built. I'm sure that I won't make it, but I feel like if I shoot for the moon, I can still land among the stars type deal.
Mm-hmm.
Although this might be shoot for the stars and land on the moon because they're closer. I don't know, but it's a goal, and I feel like it's doable. The building aspect, I think I can try and get that knocked out by the end of the year.
Well, I do owe you one, so if you need me to sit down and build with you, I got you.
I might pull a favorite on that one. And then just the amount of painting that I'll have to do, because I think, and this isn't exact, but I think I have about 3,000 points of Sylvaneth, about 1,500 points of unpainted Skaven at this point.
Didn't you, with your new victory, didn't you also pick up another 1,500 points of Iron Jaws?
It was about 1,000 points, of Iron Jaws. So I think I have about 3,000 points, maybe 2,500 points of Iron Jaws that are unpainted, although they are on the paint desk right now. And then, then there's a whole army of Lumineth, which is, that one is like vexing my soul. Because I don't really know what I want to do with them. But I feel like I need to do them justice. And then I have some Stormcast, although the vast majority of my Stormcast are done. It's mostly the newer stuff.
Chaos Dwarves on the way too.
Yeah, Chaos Dwarves.
You gotta add them in.
That's going to be a cool army too. So and there's tons more after that. But and not all of them are fully unpainted. There's a lot of painted stuff in there. But the goal is to get all of that done by next year. So that's what I'm looking forward to, hobby-wise at least. And then I know that you and I spoke about probably going back to Warfire for their next tournament, which I think they said is in around February, which I think will be great. But yeah.
I mean, long-term goal. I mean, you might be sooner than me, but I would like to actually travel to play the hobby and get out of the state of Florida, to meet new people. So maybe, hopefully, in about a year or two, LVO might be just an opportunity to experience.
I think that would be good. I have got exactly zero intent Intent's the wrong word. I've got zero delusions that I would win that. Yeah. Because that's where the best people go.
But just for the experience. Yeah. I mean, again, you learn the best by playing the best, you know.
So I agree with you on that, and we spoke about that on the drive back from the Ocala tournament, but I feel like that would be a really good one to go to. Logistics would be a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But we could make it work.
That's not PG-13, but we are on the far end of Florida.
Yeah. But yeah, it would definitely be a good one to go to, and we just gotta plan that out.
Oh, speaking of LVO and all this, the other thing I would highly recommend to beginners, it's a little off topic, is buy cases, people. I cannot tell you how important cases are.
So Rob, for those 20 games that he turned up to my house for, I think for 19 of those, had an Amazon box with all of his minis in.
And Skaven Tide.
And-
It
oh,
was
no,
a
no,
it was a
that's right.
Skaven Tide and an Amazon box for my big ones.
It didn't make it any better that it was a Warhammer box because it offers no additional protection.
No. So think about it like this, people. Break it down to easiest. You can spend hours in making your army absolutely beautiful and then realize you don't have a box to transport them in. And you're like, oh, it's okay. I'll just put them in the Skaven Tide box. And then you bring them to your event and suddenly you have half your army missing an arm or missing a weapon or the paint's chipped.
It's a bad
and
time.
then, it's just, it's something that I wish someone told me in the beginning, though I didn't realize how important it would be. But just really, when you're setting aside your budget in a good case.
For sure. Camera's back now. Sorry. We obviously this is the first episode, so we're going to be figuring a bunch of stuff out. Neither of us are multimedia professionals.
I've never done this before in my life.
Neither of us are multimedia proficient. So yeah, if you can stick with us, I promise we'll get better because there's no way we get worse.
Just like painting, right?
Exactly. So what about Skaven? Because I know that's. I mean, yeah. What is it about Skaven that made you think, man, those rat boys? That's the army for me.
So it's a mix of things, if I'm being honest. It's one, if I'm going to play a game, fantasy other words, I usually like to play the opposite. So if I'm going to play a game, I like to be evil because, again, it's like one of those things where it's just something I don't normally get to do.
Yeah.
So I can't remember if it was on Reddit or if it was on YouTube, but someone described it as, do you like miniguns and firearms? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do you like mad scientists and monsters? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do you like war crimes? And I'm like, sure. I guess if I'm fighting war, you're gonna fight war. And they're like, perfect. Skaven's the army for you. And that kind of what sold me. Also, I saw little snippets of Total War, and someone was running nothing but rattling guns, and I just saw a wave of green on the screen, and I was like, yes.
Oh yeah, no, that's for me. I want that.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
I want to do that thing.
The Skaven now, I feel like they've done such a good job. I guess porting is about the best way I can describe it, and I know that's kind of a video gamey term, but they've done such a good job making the Skaven relevant to Sigmar from fantasy battles, I feel like. The way that Skaven used to be and the way that they are now, I feel like they've kept all of their identity without sacrificing any of the coolness of the faction. And they've added a ton of new stuff now with the Skaven Tide. I wish the Claw Lord on Norbeast did something.
Oh, Jesus.
Because to me, that's probably one of the best miniatures that Games Workshop have released in 5 years.
I wish you would just give them like an extra 2 charge or like a +1 to hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you can resurrect an extra D3 clam rats or something.
Just something. Literally anything. But because in fact, I even watched Sigmar's Toll, the first episode of that the other day, on Warhammer Plus, which is actually pretty good. So far, we'll see how the rest of it goes. Not much happens in episode 1, but it is still pretty cool. They do this a lot with their animations, where they have a slow build. But anyway, in there, the guy in charge, which is, I guess, thematic to the model, is that he's a Claw Lord on a Norbeast, but he doesn't seem to be doing much.
I mean, fair.
I mean, he's technically in charge, but the Grey Seer is the one that's doing all the work. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, I mean, hey, at least
that makes sense.
It's the first time that I've seen the models inform the law. So, but I thought that was kind of neat.
So what about you? What's your? I mean, Cruel Boys right now is your current calling.
Yeah. So I've liked orcs since I got orcs in second edition back in the 90s for 40k, you know, and I'm leaning so much on Cruel Boys right now because I really like how they are different orcs. Because you have the traditional goblins, you have the traditional hobgoblins and stuff like that, and then you have the big smashy orcs. But then there's this other breed of orc, the swamp boglin, sneaky beaky, poison brewing orcs, and I think that the models are great, the lore is fantastic, and then just I think the latitude the Games Workshop have given themselves in places to grow, because they have the Corpse River Vulture stuff, they have the Gnash Tooth stuff, and and I'm just excited to see which way they go with it. And I also just think that the faction plays great on the table. I think it looks great.
I mean, those dirty tricks, bro, can really unexpectedly kick.
And that's the thing that I think I like most about them right now is that the dirty tricks make them, they play like they should feel. I feel like Stormcast play like they should feel. There are not very many of them hitting hard as trucks.
Living through everything.
Exactly.
Eating damage,
right.
But if they lose one, you start feeling it
exactly
relatively early in the army.
Right. And then I feel like they did a really good job with the Cruel Boys army in general, that it feels, like I said, I just think that they play how they feel.
If I'm just gonna make a 40K reference, I guess the sneaky gets, or the oh man, I forgot they're red and I forgot the name of blood axes, I guess.
Yeah.
They're more of the sneaky gets, they like to crump, but they like to kind of play a little bit dirtier.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not just full on punch you in the face like a goth. You would say
right.
Cruel Boys are kind of along those lines.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that makes them just interesting. And it's different. So yeah, you have the traditional smashing and bashing Iron Jaws, which are also cool.
Yeah.
And I am doing those. I'm just doing them a lot slower. But I definitely think the Cruel Boys are just my jam. And Jelly, too. So there you go.
I mean, I think the only thing the Cruel Boys need is just a little bit of cav. I guess you can run the pigs, but pigs are Iron Jaws, if I'm not mistaken.
They are. And Big War's fun. Like, if we're just doing a mess around in the house game, Big War is great. But, like, if I want to be, I guess, like, serious, then it's hard to run Big War.
So that'll lead me to a question. Why is Big War? Because in my head, I figure if I can bring all my orcs, have some Cruel Boys to sneak around and do some dirty tricks, and then, a front line of Iron Jaws to run in and just tank face,
So, to me, the problem is that you lose too much of both armies that you don't then gain by bringing them together. So imagine losing a big chunk of the smashing and bashing stuff that you get from the Iron Jaws, and basically all of the sneaky stuff that the Cruel Boys can do, and then bring that together. So you have like a less sneaky, less fighty orc group that doesn't do as well together as either one does on their own.
I see.
So that's to me what kind of, I guess, spoils it. And then you have to take like basically an even number of them. It can't be like, you can't take one unit of Gut Rippers and the rest of Iron Jaws. It has to be every Iron Jaws hero. You have to take a Cruel Boys hero. So then you have to have this sort of like weird point juggling match.
So Skaven it does something a little bit similar with the Clan Scryer and the weapons team.
Yes.
You do have to be a little bit careful, because if you do, you can run your bigger demons and they can bring anyone. And I think the same goes for the Screaming Bell and Master Clan. But if you do try to run something like Night Runners, and you just can't throw in, 2 Doomflayers and a Rattling Gun, you do have to kind of base it on your hero, actually. So I can see that. But I guess to the nth degree, that makes it a little bit harder for...
Because if you want to, let's say if I want to take Odd Boys, I got to take an Odd Boy Big Boss or a Mega Boss, but an Odd Boy Big Boss is way cheaper. Then I can take some Odd Boys. I don't think I can throw Brutes in that regiment. So then if I want to take Brutes, I've got to have a Mega Boss. And then I put the Brutes in. But then I now have to get 2 different Cruel Boys heroes. So that's going to be a Swamp Caller Shaman and a Merc Knob, or, Killer Boss or whatever, that I then have to put 2 other units in for. So, I'm spending through my points really quickly.
Just trying to make the basics, and then you can't even go into like what you would probably need.
Right.
So instead of just taking like 2 front lines of Iron Jaws, you then have to take an odd number, like 3 or 4, and the heroes are the same.
Right. So it's difficult to build it up to a level where you gain anything from it, I think. Whereas I can just put down 300 points worth of Gut Rippers, and they won't do as much damage as 300 points worth of Odd Boys.
But that's a lot of health to eat through.
Exactly, right.
Those crit 5 mortals on so many wounds is just ridiculous.
Yeah. The wounds pool is massive either way, and I can suffer through a worse save if I have mobility and all that kind of stuff. So
those the numbers sometimes I don't want to say they lie, but they sometimes having an extra pip of health does a lot more than a save sometimes, in my opinion.
It's a lot easier to improve your save than improve your health characteristics on the table. So, yeah.
and for board control and all that, that's what I learned the hard way is not having enough bodies on the board can be a little detrimental.
Absolutely.
Especially if you are not like Stormcast and have a thick, nice, beefy armor save and a nice health pool.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I'm excited for where the game is right now. I feel like there is definitely some detracting from the game online that I've seen lately from some people. And I think that it's always valid to have criticism if you enjoy something, but I feel like there right now is just a good level of balance within the game. Because if you look at, especially, I mean, and it depends on when you're listening to this. If you're listening to this in 2 years from when we release it, this probably isn't true. It might be, and if it is, that's great. Right now, in the top 10 of every tournament that you look at, basically globally too, there is a huge swath of all of the armies that are included. Now, some of them are included more than others, and then, some of them are not included at all. But for the most part, competitively, and because the competitive scene basically informs the rest of the game, there's, I think, a very good game-wide balance. Now, is it perfect? Of course not. But is it pretty good? I think so. I think it's the best it's been since I've been playing, I think.
Well, people got to remember, it's not like a video game where you can just run over a patch and then instantly patch it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We are doing written rules, and even if they do make all the rules free, you still got to drop them, let people play with them.
Yep.
Something might seem broken, and it might feel broken for the first month or two, and then people figure out the loophole around it, or this is how you kind of counterplay that.
The caveat I will say to that, though, and I know Charles will, if he ever ends up watching this, I know he'll somewhat agree, is I think the caveat to that is the Khorne Army of Renown when it first came out.
Oh.
There was nobody on this planet that has ever played Age of Sigmar that was under the impression that was balanced and fair.
Oh, no.
That was broke
I did run a game with him, and I did tell him to just play with the old rules, and those people just standing back up with all those ward saves, I swear it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
What made that army particularly hard is because I forget what unit was. It was the
Deathbringers.
Yeah, the Deathbringers. So what made them really hard was they're each one of them counted as an individual unit. So if I were to try to, if he brought 3 of them in, I would have to devolve a certain number of attacks with my unit that he crashed into, and it's not like I can just choose 1, 2. I would have to call them out right now.
Yep.
So it's like, hey, I need to devolve, split it up 3 times, and I can't just see how one does into a part of it. So trying to do the math on that and then having them stand back up, them each being individual units just made it really hard to deal with.
Plus, they have, I forget exactly what it is. I think they're like either 4 or 5 attacks base, which are 2 or 3 damage each. And then, they get extra buffs, which gives them an extra 2 or 3 attacks a turn. So they're doing, per guy, they're doing 15 to 20 damage each.
So that's one thing I do like about Age of Sigmar than 40k is that the wound pool bleeds over.
Yes.
It does make life a little bit easier. I feel like it kind of makes balance a little bit easier too in a way, you know what I mean? Because to fix you're not doing so much math in my head. As in, I'm not like 40k, if I were to shoot into a guy, you have to sit there and say, hey, I'm only shooting with so many amount of shots.
I got 10 shots, I can only ever kill 10 guys.
Yep. And then it just leads to a lot of feel bad moments. Within in Age of Sigmar, I can shoot all 10 of the shots, and I know that there's going to be a set number of damage going through.
And talking about 40k briefly as well, the thing that I think feels worse about that is when you have 10 damage 2 shots that go through and wound 3 models.
Yeah.
That feels terrible.
Oh my god, because even if you do land all of them, you're still going to have almost half the unit that you're shooting at just be like, oh, you ran out of shots, I guess.
Yeah.
You lose the extra pip of damage when the thing goes through,
You just killed all of the guys you killed extra.
Yep.
So
it does, like I said, I think Age of Sigmar.
We'll definitely talk more about the rules because they are. This was something I think you and I were talking about. Maybe it was you and I. Maybe it was me and Raoul. I don't remember.
The Guarded Hero?
No. There are. I feel like with Age of Sigmar, and this is what I was talking about with the detraction online too. I feel like there is a lot of people that will say. There are a lot of people that will say that it's not balanced. However, going to as many tournaments as I've gone to, which isn't a huge amount. I think I've only been to like 6 or 7 tournaments, and playing as many games as I've played and getting rules wrong myself and seeing other people get rules wrong. there are people out there that don't fully understand the rules, that think that they do, and are playing the game not cheating but incorrectly. Um, and it's just that it's just a thing that's going to happen, right? You can't remember all of the rules, but when you look at the rules and you play the game correctly, I feel like the balance improves itself. And what Rob was talking about there, the guarded hero thing, monsters and war machines and maybe flying. I'd have to look at it. See, this is a problem. They don't get guarded hero, but infantry can't be targeted outside of 12. Cavalry get -1. All that kind of stuff. That matters because if you're shooting at, let's say, because this came up against a game that I was in with Raoul, where I was shooting at Liege Cavalos, who was a cavalry hero, next to his cavalry. Now, I didn't think cavalry heroes got -1 because I thought it was just infantry. So we went through that whole game. And to be fair, I don't even think I was shooting at it. I think it was charging. Maybe I was shooting. It doesn't matter. But the point is, I think the balance improves when you understand the rules better. And I think that there are elements of the rules which are misunderstood. Things like piling in after you charge when there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So if you charge with 2 units, the first unit kills the whole unit, you can still pile in with the second guy even though he didn't fight. Yeah, see? That's what I'm talking about.
Which is important because then you can bring them onto objectives or do battle tactics or
even pull another unit into combat.
Yeah.
So stuff like that is where I think that the simple, not simplified rules of Age of Sigmar are really, really good. Because there's a lot of depth to it. There's, I want to say, like 30 sections for the rules. And it's not a heavy read, but there's enough in there that makes it still really, really tactical. So, yeah.
Tactical, again, that's one of my favorite things about tabletop wargaming is just playing tactics. It's almost like, I want to say like 4D chess. That's probably a bad way of saying it. But it's like chess, but with a little bit more being involved.
Chess with modifiers.
yeah, exactly.
It's like if I roll a 6, my knight can go twice.
Yep. And
that would be wild for chess, but yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things that just make the game a little bit more interesting, you know what I mean? And all those little details, again, like you were saying, it does balance, like they do, to a degree, make the rules how they are and then balance around those. So if we were playing improper, something can feel absolutely broken, and then we realize, hey, it's not really supposed to do that.
Yeah, and I think that it's important when you correct your own mistakes, that you learn from it and you learn to read the rules too. So one of the things that recently I got corrected on was the 3 claw steps. For Skaven, because the knot hole lets you portal through. 3 claw steps ahead is a movement that you do, doesn't happen in the movement phase. Sorry, doesn't happen in the hero phase. So it's understanding the interaction of the rules is also huge.
Yep.
Because if you can teleport in your hero phase, that's massive.
Yeah. I mean, we were building lists around being able to do that for safety and stuff like that.
Right.
Because we originally had Giselles in the list. Half the thinking was, well, if you throw them through the knot hole, they can shoot, and if they start getting in danger, you just 3 claw steps them out back through the knot hole, and then realizing that hey, you actually can't do that. So that changes an entire list almost. You know what I mean?
And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's understanding the rules and playing the game how it's written versus how you think it's played.
Yeah.
I think that's massive. One of the biggest things that I think that you can do is you can read the rules for free, of course, on the app, and just pick a section and just reread it 3-4 times over the course of a week before your next game. And especially if it's something that you're like, oh, so I have gotten guarded hero, I've gotten piling moves after a charge, or powering through, or whatever. I've gotten that wrong. I'm going to make sure that I really, really understand this phase. My army is most active in the combat phase, or the shooting phase, or whatever. So I'm really going to, bore down on what I can do in those phases. But more rule stuff to come for sure. I think we'll probably have a segment where we talk specifically about rules that we've either discovered, is the wrong word, but
gotten wrong and then realize that this is how the action worked, or maybe we could just continue watching and we could just go through all the rules that we see we played against that people generally are confusing.
Sure. And because there's 1,000 interactions in every game, which you weren't planning on, or you didn't read for, and then just us talking about them is maybe a good way to
Yep. Like
start thinking about
powering through. Like I can't tell you how many times I've set up in a position not thinking you were gonna get to those back guys, and then totally forgot about there's a one CP point that you can spend, and you're like, hey, I'm just gonna go right through these guys, and it's like, wow. If I remembered that, I probably wouldn't put them up so far.
Yeah.
I probably would have put them back a little bit,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. So, no, I think that there's going to be a lot more of that. There'll be a lot of hobby talk to come, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think, what are we thinking for next episode? I think next episode was going to be something interesting, which we'll cut in here.
This little section. We'll just edit this out and put something.
Yeah, because we're really good at that. So
yeah,
I have in
two
fact,
sheets to the wind.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna cheat right now.
We're gonna cheat right now. We'll probably leave this whole thing in actually, because it'll be funny.
It can't get any worse.
It literally won't get any worse. So I'm gonna have to find it later, but. The long story short is that we'll probably talk more in depth about Skaven as a faction and Cool Boys as a faction in the next episode, just because they're currently the armies that we're really heavily leaning into, and I think that there are titular armies. I think they're the armies that I think we are, especially you with Skaven. I know I have a little more breadth, just because I've got some more, but I definitely think that Cruel Boys is where Cruel Boys have my heart.
Yeah,
and I think that the plan is talk about them, and then I think probably talk more about the competitive scene.
Yep, we can go over our experience at the last tournament that we went to.
Yeah,
break down the games a little bit, or what we can remember of the games because my memory is terrible. But
mine isn't too bad. But yeah, and then I think that because we are coming at it from a slightly different perspective, in that we're not fully is wrong. We're not at tournaments all the time.
Yeah, no, I really go by for fun. A tournament is just a good way to learn the game, to have a little bit more fun, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not all about winning. You're never going to win everything all the time.
Nope.
But it's good to play along stricter rules so then I can add more fluff in my home games, essentially, for me.
But yeah. Like I say, this is the first episode, so please do bear with us.
Mm-hmm.
Things will improve, the sound quality. We are set up reasonably well, so it doesn't look too bad. But yeah,
you should have seen 3 days ago.
Yeah, the initial filming.
Oh,
which I'm sure will be released to the public at some point in the future, but not today. That was. We had a long, hard look at ourselves after that. We're like, we can't put that in.
No. We looked at that and said, we need to put a little bit more elbow grease and money into this.
A little more zhuzh.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything for this one.
Yeah, I mean, if the people want more, they'll tell us.
Yeah, so...
And if you hate us, also let us know where we can improve, because we can always improve.
Yeah, so please do leave comments below on YouTube, or, reviews on anywhere that you get your podcasts from normally. Subscribe, like, share this with any of your friends that you know, that you think, hey, I just listened to two idiots talk about Age of Sigmar for at least an hour. I think you might like these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then please do share that, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Yep.